Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glenn Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both a match attending and international supporters view. Glenn, are you good?
I'm good. Well, as good as I can be after another worrying performance against Arsenal. But yeah, I'm well. And truly having a very nice summer. I'm sure that will be a blow in the ribs for winter-based Graham. But doing well, mate. It's going to hit 31 today.
Yeah, it's pretty cold tonight again. Yeah, well, obviously, first up, North London derby.
Yeah.
Watched. My viewing experience was, as I think I mentioned before, I went to Paris for the day. I was up at the crack of dawn, flew to Paris, went to an office, did a 1-hour meeting, got back to the airport and got on a plane. And the plane departed at kickoff time. And the flight was about an hour and 20 minutes. So I'm like, I got on. And I found out that the plane had Wi-Fi, so I'm having that. And then I tried all the streaming apps, nothing worked. It was all geo-blocked. Then I tried all the audio options, so TalkSport and Radio 5 and anything I could find. Nothing worked either. So I ended up watching Mark Goldbridge do a watch-along, which, let's just say, he's not the most positive about us or anything. He doesn't like Arsenal, so I suppose there's that. But yeah, I kind of knew what was going on, but without really seeing it. And then I got about the last 10, 15 minutes on my phone walking through the airport. And then I went and watched the goals and most of the major incidents after that. But I'm really disappointed. To be honest, not unexpected, really. I felt like it would be I thought it'd be tight. I didn't think there'd be a lot in it. And actually, 2-1 really flattered us a bit. They had so many chances. Yeah.
I think it did too. The frustrating thing for me was the first kind of 15, 20 minutes, it was all Arsenal, right? But what I thought, and this is a positive of the game, the only positive I can really come up with, other than maybe Bergveld, again, kind of really growing into that central midfield position and making it his own. The one positive I would say was we actually seemed to be okay, like defensively. I thought we were soaking it up. I thought we were going to hit them on the break. And I thought, he's got a bit of an idea of how to play here. And then we went 1-0 up, very much against the run of play. And I thought, okay.
Deflected shot, right?
Yeah.
Deflected
shot. But it was one of those where you're like, okay, I'll take that.
I think the one thing we can say is that we were very lucky that Arsenal didn't have a striker that could score. It could have been 6 or 7 easily. If Jesus was playing, or
exactly,
it would have been a very different game.
A bit like the last few games where he has played and he'd come back and he'd look really bloody good. He even tore us a new one. Of course, we were fortunate he wasn't there. I don't think we can talk about the manner we conceded the goals without saying I did think we were a little bit hard done by in that it wasn't a corner,
right?
And then where the ref was positioned as well, I thought that was really poor.
And the problem is VAR doesn't interfere with shit like that, right? That's just a bad decision on the pitch. It's not the players' fault, unfortunately. Yeah. And yet again, that's 2 games against Arsenal this season. They've scored against us with a corner.
Yeah. And it was one of those I was reading. I don't know what it was. It was Chris Sutton and whoever guest he had on the BBC predictions, and he said he's backing Gabriel to score from a corner, and of course it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, you've used the word gutless. I can't disagree. I mean, it was
just there wasn't any fight in us, really, was there? How many chances did we make in the whole match? It was low, wasn't it? It was not.
I don't remember Raya having to make a save, really.
I've kind of really blocked it from my memory already, but I felt like we didn't even put up a fight, really. Not really. Even in the second half, we did. We kind of huffed and puffed and tried, but he made some really weird substitutions. Right, that's what it's like. He went from a kind of fairly balanced team with 2 sort of holding players to taking them off and sticking on all the offensive players we could put on the pitch.
I thought Ozzy Ardiles had popped in the dressing room at half time.
Yeah, it felt a bit like that. It was like 5 attacking. Well, everyone barred back 4 was kind of and then in the end he had Dragosin up front as well.
I didn't get it. I did not get it. Like Well, frustratingly, there was two things I didn't get. It was the last 25, 30 minutes of the game. You saw, much later than that, you saw Dragerson, as you just mentioned, up top, and you've got Will Langschick getting splinters. And then the other change I have to say I didn't get was Richarlison. I didn't get it. Like, he hasn't played in months. You've got Mikey Moore, who,
Would have made
for
more
good
sense.
or bad, well, or for good or bad, Mikey Moore understands what that fixture means, right? He's come through the academy. He's just played some minutes against Hamworth. He's looked back better, he's getting fitter, and it's like, if anyone's going to have a go at them, it's going to be him, not Richarlison. So I didn't get it. I didn't get the last 25, 30 minutes at all. And that's a bit of a worry. Like, he looked like, I think you used the phrase, like, it looked like he's a bit run out of ideas, which is a bit of a concern.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been surprised if he'd have thrown the goalkeeper up. It had got to that stage, right? It was like he was about to get knocked out of a tournament or something. And he, or maybe he felt like his job was on the line off the back of the result, and was literally willing to try anything by that point. But it didn't look like he was ever really in control of the game. I think they out tacticked, outsmarted, outfought, out everything us, outscored us, obviously.
And I've talked about this before, right? In terms of when we've been using Archie Gray as a centre back, which actually that Liverpool performance highlighted for me some of the reasons why he brings the ball out very well, and it's very useful.
He's kind of like stand-in Romero, isn't he? In that sense, like bringing the ball out.
Correct. Yeah, which I get, and now I get it more. But then you've got Dorrington, who's now gone on loan. But then I feel, if you're Will Langschick sat on the bench in North London Derby and you're seeing Dragerson going up top, well, what the hell am I doing here? You know?
Yeah. I mean, if he doesn't go out on loan, I don't see where it's going to... I mean, maybe he gets time in the Europa League games, but then you're probably going to want Richarlison to get some game time again. If you're going to start playing him regularly, he needs game time to get back to full match fitness, right? So, I don't know, just... but then... We'll talk about when we talk about the Everton game. I think Richarlison might get to play quite a lot this weekend.
Yeah. Well, and then we like him, and I like him. I think you like him, but we can't talk about the North London Derby without talking about Kinski. I mean, God Almighty, he's gonna
again. It's that playing out from the back and fucking decision making. Is the amount of times we get again. It's like fucking kids football sometimes. Watching them try and play it out from the back, playing each other into danger every time. Yeah, playing it to someone who's got two players on him. Yeah, expecting him to do something with it when he's got no one showing for it either. Yeah. That's the other thing is it's fine if you want to play something in a tight space, but he's got two players in front of him to receive the ball. But if he's got to turn and get through two players to lay it off to someone, it's suicide, right? It's suicide.
Even I play at the back, five-a-side, and I'm more of a defensive-minded player. There's times that I've played and I've said to my teammates, I don't fucking want it there.
Yeah, I don't exactly. I can stick it out the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think, as I said, if they had a decent striker, that they would have destroyed us, absolutely destroyed us. It would have been, and it could have been a real embarrassing match.
Declan Rice came out and said that it could have been 10, and he's right. You know,
absolutely. And I hate to say it, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Well, but I just don't know where we go from here. I don't see us getting any better. We're just praying for players to come back. But does that really change that much? I mean, if you think about the first North London derby, did we have a full team out there? We probably did, didn't we? And they still beat us 1-0 at ours from a corner again. So it's not. Yes, the players make a difference. They do. But actually, the tactics are wrong. The training, the coaching is wrong. Something's fundamentally wrong with this team.
Well, and we were touching on it when you and I were just chatting before we came on air, but you talk about getting new players in, and where is the transfer business? Now, our new regime, or whatever you want to call it, seems to work in a bit of a, I don't know, quiet silo, or things can happen unexpectedly because we didn't hear anything at all about Kinski. But it's going to be the 20th of January on Monday, and we've signed a goalkeeper.
And it wasn't even the area we had the biggest issue, was it? We needed a centre back more than we needed.
We needed a centre back. Maybe he's looking at it, or they're looking at it and saying, well, we've got Ash Phillips, Vuskovic out on loan. We've got BDB and Romero to come back. We've got Ben Davies to come back. So maybe they're edging their bets, but still, don't do something. Get some experience or someone in.
I would have taken a 6-month loan just for the numbers. We need the numbers.
Yeah.
But what happens if when we get Van der Ven and Romero back, and Romero gets a reoccurrence of his toe hurting, and Van der Ven does another hamstring or something like in February,
Which can happen clearly under Andy's methods. That
first, we got like 3 games in the first 2 weeks in February, or something ridiculous. We got like the two cup fixtures and league fixtures and everything. So actually, probably more than that. I don't know when the first Europa League knockout game will be. Probably later in Feb, right? Because there'll be the playoff games first, which we obviously hope we won't be involved with. But and the way things are going, that could be a thing as well, right?
Yeah, Europa League knockout has to be later in Feb because we're done, aren't we? End of Jan, essentially.
Yeah, and then there'll be at least 2 weeks of the playoff matches.
Is it straight to a last 16 then?
What? Yes. No. Hold on a minute. So 8. Yes, it will be. So there'll be 8 will go through, and then 16 will go into a playoff. Half of them will go out, so then it'll be 16. So we got two match. I think it's a 2-match playoff. I haven't checked that. I need to go and check the rules again. But I would assume it'd be a 2-match playoff, home and away.
And going off on a bit of a Europa League tangent here, I actually had concerns on them pivoting to this weird league format. But I actually think it's almost once you get to the knockouts, a bit more of a throwback to how it used to be in the UEFA Cup.
Yeah. I think it's thrown up. It's been all right, and also it means that you've played 8 different teams, not like 4 home and away. Because usually you get 1 or 2 good ones and 1 or 2 bad ones, which then means just half the games are pretty crappy. But this has been a better mix, I think.
I think
it's worked quite well. I think it's worked quite well.
And then so I've just pulled it up. So you're right. So you've got knockout phase playoffs, if required, which we hope there are. That's 13th, 20th of Feb. And then you've got round of 16, 6th and 13th of March. So let's assume that we get the job done versus, is it Hoffenheim, I think, this week?
Yeah. And Elfsborg after that.
And then Elfsborg. So if we get the result with Hoffenheim, hopefully that's... And then there's no Europe to worry about until March 6th.
Yeah. By then we should have a significant body of people back from illness, injury, suspension, God knows what.
One hopes.
But then we're still picking up 2 or 3 injuries a match at the moment. Like in the last match, Bissouma picked up a knock. Who else? There's rumours that Solanke might be out as well.
Well,
picked up in training.
Well, I was about
what the fuck is he getting injured in training after having played on a midweek game? It's just
our listeners take this for what it's worth. I've just been forwarded various comms on another group, or the Twitter handle is called Spurs in the Know Hub. That often means they know fuck all, but it says Solanke injured in training this morning, minimum 6 weeks out, knee injury, waiting on scan, and then Paul O'Keefe, who is pretty reliable. 1 normal day is all I ask. Dom Solanke injured, timescale to be confirmed, knee injury of some description.
Oh, that's it. I mean, that's and then we got Richarlison, whose legs are made of biscuits. Is our only option.
So, but
it looks like Lancashire is not going out on loan again then.
Yeah, so he just put, my mate who sent it said, confirmed, fuck, this is fucked. And then my other mate put, Richie, it is.
I mean, you know what? Sometimes he has these like runs of binge scoring, doesn't he? Let's hope this is one of them and not like binge injuries, which he seems to be also proficient at. I don't understand the transfer business at the moment, or the lack of. It's like obvious that we, even before the current spat of injuries, we've known people actually at the start of the season. So ignoring this, right? Let's assume we didn't know that Alfie Gray was going to be a play centre back for us at the start of the season, right? So we had Dragusin, and we had Ben Davies, who could play as centre back, as cover for our preferred 2, and that was it. And then Dorrington came back from injury. Alfie Gray has basically been the Swiss Army player who's played in every position.
Yeah.
But it's been like this since about November. So we've had like we're going to be going on for 3 months without having 2 recognised centre-backs. What other Premier League club would be in that position? But look at how bad City have been this first half of the season. They've by their own very high standards, of course. They've been abysmal. So what are they doing about it in January? They're buying about 4 fantastic players. They're spending 60 to 80 million on players to get the right players in to bolster the squad. We're not doing anything.
The irony with Spurs is, and me as a fan, and probably you as well, like you just said, I wouldn't even. I don't care if it's a loan. Do something.
No, it's just we're running out of bodies. It's literally, we get to a stage where we can't put men on the pitch, and it's boys. And I don't mean like 18-year-old. 18 upwards, as far as I'm concerned, is an adult. But we've got like kids younger than that on the bench who probably wouldn't be anywhere near the first team at any other club. Even clubs that would want to give them a go. I think it's too, every match, every point that we play for now is too important this season for us to take risks.
Or, well, I say it quietly, or is the fucking league season a complete write-off, which is,
it
probably is. But, as you pointed out, we are, what are we, 15th on 24 points, Everton are 16 or 17 points. The only thing I can say is it's a bloody good job Southampton and Leicester are so appalling, because we could very well be pulled into that.
Yeah.
Lose. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I think the same 3 that came up will go down. I just think that
it's highly possible.
That, you know, we've seen it before where a game can go on and run at 2 or 3 games, pick up some points, get a bit of momentum, and they can save themselves. And then teams like us who literally can't sit and buy a win at the moment. We've just been in free fall. Looking at the table looks grim reading. Look at the form tables. Like
it's appalling.
We're in the bottom 3 in terms of form. We're poor. The only thing that's keeping us afloat, I think, is goal difference is still pretty decent compared to most of the clubs around us have conceded a lot more goals than us. And that's basically, when we score a lot.
Oh, absolutely we do. And look, and pivoting around, like, if we lump in the transfer business and the form and the in-game management and the worries that we have, it's been, I don't know the social media is a cesspool at times, but apparently there's rumours going around that Iriola from Bournemouth to come in, or that would be the one that we want. I mean, I recall murmurings when Klopp, it was almost a year ago to the day when he said he was leaving at the end of the season. There was some serious murmurings and Liverpool fans saying they want Ange in the door. Football can change very quickly, right? So I don't... Yeah. And we covered this previously, but...
Let's be honest, right? Why would you leave Bournemouth at the moment to come to Tottenham?
Correct.
Where are they? What, 6th, 7th? They're up there, aren't they? They're going to be in Europe.
For me, it's wherever said manager is. For me, it's like, well, why would they leave anywhere to come to Tottenham at the moment? And is that an argument in itself for why we ended up with Ange Postecoglou? Right?
Maybe you're right. I mean, no, he came in with no Europe, right? So it was like we didn't have any. Yeah, and anything he was going to have to win for himself. It wasn't like he wasn't gifted anything. I mean, maybe other people just thought the risk was. Maybe they looked at the squad and thought, I don't want to be around for the squad rebuild. Correct. I'll wait for someone else to do that, and then I'll come in and pick it up.
I mean, a few episodes ago, I said let's draw a line under it and say no more talk about Ange getting the boot because it's not happened and it's not going to happen. But I don't know. Like if we lose the Everton, that's bad, really bad, despite what's happening in the cups. But again, should Spurs just leave it alone and to a degree do what Arsenal did with Arteta? Like when on its face they were pretty shit, right?
Yeah, but they never ended up like this. It was never like this.
No. They were never.
You're right. There's degrees of shit in this instance, right? This is a whole new level of shit.
In the league it is, and someone made a good point to us, I think to another mate, and he said, well, even in the cups it is, like, Hamworth took us through extra time.
Yeah, we've not covered ourselves in glory there yet, have we? And we still got no guarantees of that League Cup final. No guarantees, right? It's still we still got a tough away game to go and get something out of. We need to at least get a draw at Anfield, and let's be honest, it's not something we do very often.
We don't draw games. We've drawn 6 games this season, I think.
Or get any points up there is usually a like a special day out, isn't there?
Oh, 100% it is. I mean, I remember going all the way back to the FA Cup quarterfinal when Klinsmann and Sheringham scored after we were 1-0 down. And that was the first time we'd beaten Liverpool away since the Titanic had sunk. So
Jesus
we don't have
Christ.
a great record. Let's just say that. But Everton's going to be. It's going to be a tough game. Like Goodison Park is already there's a few factors there. Goodison Park's already a difficult place to go. It's their last season at Goodison Park, right?
Yeah.
So every game is a bit of an event in itself. You've got David Moyes, which it's just bizarre that he's back there. But
It is an odd.
Well, to put context around that, I was with a mate yesterday morning. We meet a group of us on Saturdays or Fridays, depending on what works, and we go and do a bit of a workout and have a chat and just go and get a coffee. And he's a Derby County fan, and we were talking about football, and he said, "Oh yeah, David Moyes, he's back at Everton. Is it 2009 again?" And I said, 2009. I said, he gave Wayne Rooney his debut. It's longer ago than that. So it's feeling very odd.
So weird. I feel if you're gonna, why get rid of Dyche? Right, because it's that for me. I don't see that much difference in them. Not in that. I mean, it's not like a completely drastic change of direction in terms of management, is it? He's another one who'll play relatively safe, defensive, counter-attacking football. No difference to what they're trying to do with under Dyche, and I don't think Dyche was underperforming with that squad. It is a shit squad, in my opinion.
Well,
and I mean, if the one or two shining lights in the squad are people who are absolutely zero form, like Calvert-Lewin, who on his day is an absolute world beater and he easily gets in the England squad on his day. But I can't remember when that day last was. Well, I'm not sure it was in the last 3 years.
There's a stat. He's failed to score in his last 16 Premier League outings, so Dr. Tottenham will see you now.
Yeah, that feels like a instant return to form, doesn't it?
Yeah, indeed. So guaranteed he scores.
And then we kind of touched on the areas that we've got that are going to be a problem because of additional injuries. So Solanke now we're saying feeling
he's
like
out.
It could be a long injury, like 6 weeks or even more, maybe. Not sure. So that's a problem. The only good thing is we know that Richarlison's back, but again, he's also incredibly fragile. So if Ange can break Solanke, he can definitely break Richarlison. Then we got Davis back, which is I think a really good thing. Gives us more options. But the problem with that is, well, not a problem, is that also Bissouma's out again. Whether he'll be back or not, I'm not sure. He was saying he had still suffering. He was a bit sore. And when they say they're a bit sore, does that mean I'm 54 as of last week, and I'm always a bit sore?
Yeah,
it don't stop me doing anything.
I get out of bed sore often.
Yeah, like
I still have to get on with the day.
My knees sound like a creaky door in the mornings. Yeah, I just feel like I never. It's kind of vague enough that he could be absolutely fine for tomorrow, or he could be out for another 2 weeks or something. It's difficult to gauge, but what I was thinking is a couple of options. That if Ben Davies comes back in, he can go into centre back, and Archie Gray could come out into a 6, which I think we all really want to see him play at some point.
100% we do, and with Bergwijn alongside him, the energy in there,
will be good enough.
Yeah, be really good.
Yeah,
and then you've obviously got Jed Spence. That means you could have Davies left back, and then Jed Spence can play in his natural position of right back.
Yes, which would also be good. But then, exactly that. So we got a couple of options there that would help. There was someone else who was a bit sore. I can't remember if it was Sarr or might have been Sarr. That would also, again, the one area of the pitch that we had lots of players for was the centre, and even that's becoming a problem, right? We've got Bentancur out. Bissouma might be, he's sore. somewhere. Maybe some deep heat on it. Sarr again as well. So we're running short of midfielders now. It's like we seem to we kind of batch destroy them. The whole of the defence has been out for about 3 months, and now we're moving on to the midfield and then even the strikers. So yeah, I feel it feels like it's going to be a bit of a patched up team again. I think we'll have. I can see Kulusevski and Maddison playing in midfield. I'm not sure. That was the other one. Sorry, my mistake. It wasn't Sarr. It was Bernard Johnson.
Oh, I'm not, to be honest, Johnson. He was anonymous when he featured.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny with him though? Let me just have a look. I want to make sure I'm not talking out of my arse here. Is he our top scorer?
Yeah, still is.
Which tells you everything, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, and him and Solanke, I think, are pretty close. Son's got a few. Maddison's got a few. Everyone else has got one or two, maybe. I don't know.
So Johnson, but again, and this is just like me asking something that's never going to happen. Why wouldn't you look at what you've got available to you, and then pivot to just a wing-back system, right?
Yeah.
Do something, especially if you're playing.
Because we couldn't put 3 centre-backs on the pitch.
Well, but my point is, it's like if you're going to be playing Archie Gray, then why don't you have him alongside at Dorrington and a Dragosine and do that as a free, and then have your actual wing-backs in Porro. It's fair, but he won't do it.
I thought that, I think Porro, it looks a bit of a spent force at the moment.
He got turned inside out by, because that's far to completely.
Well, he got turned inside out by the guy who works for Zara as well. So like,
yeah.
But it's just like, it doesn't. I'm not sure that you don't have to be particularly good to really overwhelm him when he's playing in a defensive half. And actually, his attacking intent has been okay, but we're not seeing the number of crosses that. I mean, Solanke again, he's not getting great service from the wide positions. Yeah,
it's pretty depressing.
I'm trying to find something positive to say, but I feel like if we're good, we'll probably. I've got a feeling we'll win tomorrow.
Really?
But I don't know. We can't not win. I can't even contemplate losing to Everton. I can't. Because I feel like if we lose tomorrow, I can't see any way back for him. I really can't.
Well, and that's a really good segue, because that's where I was coming to. I didn't get your full kind of response to my views on the Tottenham just stick and not fucking twist for a change. But you see it, if we lose tomorrow, you don't care about things he's done or what he's doing.
I want him to be successful, but how long can we afford to wait? I don't know. I think if you're running the club, you'd have to be pretty confident in him.
Yeah.
To suffer a season where we're going to flirt with relegation, and there's no guarantees on either cup competition still, right? I mean, we could go quite a long way into Europa League and still get knocked out in the semi-final or something. No guarantees of any of that. Even if we beat Liverpool and we play Newcastle or Arsenal, they could come back. Either of those teams are going to give us a tough game. They've both turned us over this season. And then the FA Cup, there's so many rounds of that left to go.
Villa away as well, isn't it?
Yeah, even in the fourth round, that's there's no guarantees we'll get past that. And then Europa League, who knows who we get drawn once we get into that, if we, assuming again, we get into the knockout stage. There's no guarantees on anything. I mean, what do you do? Do you wait until he gets knocked out of the last competition and then pull the trigger? Because by then, maybe it's too late.
Well, and the way this season has gone, you wouldn't back against, like you just said, you can see us beating Everton, and because more maybe out of hope than anything else.
Because I can't contemplate him not playing the game tomorrow.
So I think
the noise would be deafening. I think that.
I think it would too. And
the support's really bad. I mean, it's turning nasty as well.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think we lose to Everton, and I think Ipswich will beat Man City. because I think that's the way the season has gone, and therefore that puts them 5 points behind us, particularly, right?
Yeah.
And then
Have we got Leicester? Is it Leicester next?
we've got Leicester at home the next fixture, right? Who have been, and I called it as soon as they hired Van Nistelrooy. They had that one big win on his first game. I think they beat someone 3-0 or 3-1.
Yeah.
But I called it when they hired him. I said, well, they're going to go down, which is
Do you reckon they'll hang on to it if they do go down, or if they'll change again?
Probably. Maybe they hired him with the view that
It was too late already.
Ready to go down. Who knows?
I still think they could beat us though, because
they don't. Anything could beat us. Well,
they're set up to play against us, right? Soak it up, hit us on the break. Jamie Vardy, he's giving us plenty of shit house in defence. He's gonna. This is the thing. There's not a team out there that if they play to our weaknesses, couldn't get a result against us. But equally, we could beat anybody on our day. So we keep saying that, but those days are infrequent.
If those results play out like I predict, I hope it doesn't happen. As I said, that puts us 5 points ahead of Ipswich. That then would tell us so much in what the club does. Because like to your point, there's so many grounds to look at that and say he's got to go. But if he doesn't, like I think, maybe they say, no, we've been hearing from everyone and everyone's dog that we needed to do a rebuild, that we needed a complete clear out, that we needed to get more youth in, that we needed to blood the academy players. We've heard that for years. It's starting to happen. So they look at it and say, no, this is what's happening, guys. Because we've tried the Contes, we've tried the Mourinho's. I mean, the crying shame for me is what's happening now and has happened in the last 18 months under Postecoglou should have happened under Pochettino, right? Yeah, that's when it should have happened.
Yeah.
We've still got players who featured in that Champions League run in the team, right?
Yeah, but let's be honest, right? In that season, Ben Davies was a backup, and now we're like welcoming him back like he's the Messiah. And just Son has continued to perform well for us, but this season, he's been anonymous in his absence.
I'd have to go find it to get my words completely right here, and don't fully quote me on this, but I remember Pochettino sitting down for an interview with Gary Lineker on the BBC I think it was the pre-season after we'd lost to Liverpool in the Champions League final, and we had obviously a new stadium, and he said to Lineker, I've got a new house, now I need nice new bits of furniture to put in it. And what he meant by that was a rebuild.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
And it was obvious that season, that Champions League run papered over the cracks of a really shit. Second half of that season was worse than this season.
Yeah. And
it was poor, wasn't it? It was so poor. We couldn't buy a win. We lost to Bournemouth. We lost with Burnley. I think we lost some really shitty games.
Burnley got absolutely humbled by Bayern Munich in that season's Champions League.
Yeah. Got beat up by
but again
as well.
What we saw there is what we're seeing somewhat to a degree now in the clear out kind of happened, and then there's going to be a period of pain. I didn't think it'd be this bad in terms of our league position.
Yeah.
But it is. I don't know, mate. I don't know what, and again, maybe I'm seeing it through the lens of, I hope the club don't make a change because I just can't go through it yet again. Now,
there's a degree of that, isn't there? Like, it's better the devil, you know. I think if you look at there's, including tomorrow, there's 4 games left this month. So we've got Everton, Hoffenheim, Leicester, Elfsborg. So that's 2 teams in the league that we should be beating, 2 teams in the Europa League that we should be beating. So if we come out of those with 6 points and 2 wins in the Europa League and we're in the top 8, you know, everything looks a bit rosier because all of a sudden we've probably shot up a few places in the table. But then, and then February comes along when we've got Brentford, Liverpool, Aston Villa in the FA Cup, Man United in the league at home, Ipswich, Man City. So again, you're looking at them thinking, you know, how many points we're getting out of that lot? And then March starts again. We've got Bournemouth and Fulham, both of whom could easily turn us over. They're both playing very well at the moment. Then Chelsea, then Southampton, Wolves, Forest. So there's not a lot of easy games left. There really isn't.
Well, and let's play it this way. Let's say that we do lose against Everton and Ipswich v City, which isn't as real as a possibility, right? The way City have played this season, Ipswich can play some good football when they're at home.
Yeah.
Let's say that we do make it. Let's say that we do fire him. Let's say that in 24 hours' time he's gone. There's talks of the Bournemouth manager, or talks or wants or whatever it is, murmurings. But who do you go and get in January, mid-season, with the injuries we've got, the players we've got missing? Like, who do you go and get? I'm not saying that I've got a name, but who is it? Like, there's a ex-Dortmund manager who's unemployed.
Terzic.
Yeah, Terzic, who took them to a Champions League final. He doesn't have to worry about doing that with us. So,
I think, do you know who it will be for the rest of the season at least?
Ryan Mason.
Yeah.
That's why he's there, right?
He's like going to be, his career's going to look like it's going to be 16 times he's been the Tottenham caretaker manager.
I actually feel really sorry for him because I've listened to a few podcasts of him being interviewed and he speaks really well. And I actually think him sticking around at Tottenham has almost stumped his growth, if you like, as a coach.
Yeah.
Because he deserves a job.
He's going to need to have the courage of his convictions and go out and take a job somewhere.
Correct. He deserves a job in like League One or Championship to go and earn some stripes. And he seems to have a really good philosophy. But who do you go and get though? Like on a full-time basis, who the hell wants it? Really, when you look at it, who wants it? Like we've burned through Jose Mourinho and Conte. We fired Mourinho a week before a cup final. You've got a manager in Ange Postecoglou who has had unprecedented issues this season. Agreed, but
Nuno,
bring him back. I mean, it's not a great situation, is it? I mean, and the fact of the matter is, like you said, if we're not in that League Cup semi-final and we have not won that first leg, does my opinion change maybe a little bit? Like in terms of, we'll just get rid of him because it's not working. But we've seen it, right? We've seen us getting rid of managers when it's not working, and then the alternative hasn't worked. It hasn't changed anything. So are we just breaking another man here?
Well, I think the thing then is, right, if what we're saying is that it isn't the coaching staff, it's the players, or the lack of players.
Yeah.
Then if the club is serious about sticking by Postecoglou, they needed to strengthen the squad this transfer window.
Which they haven't done.
Which they haven't done yet. And if I hear someone say, oh, so-and-so did really well playing there temporarily, so we decided it wasn't such a priority anymore. Yeah, at the end, you said something earlier, which the only justification, and it's tentative, which is that we do have players out on loan that are going to come into this, like Vuskovic is a good example, right? Where I don't think we want to be putting a player in front of his growth into the first team, because I think he will be a first team player by the end of next season.
Yeah.
And I mean, he could even come in to replace Romero, who may go in the summer anyway. I just think he looks like a 35-year-old man already, and he's only, 70? Yeah. He got himself sent off last weekend. I saw, for arguing the toss over something or other. I don't know what it was, but he was bigger than the referee who was shouting, that's for sure. That's the thing I can say, is that do we want to get in the way of all of these, bringing these young players through? But it's really hard to bring young players into a shit team that's playing badly and performing badly, right? You want to bring them into a successful team where they learn from successful, experienced players. And at the moment, they're teaching the experienced players what they should be doing, not the other way around.
Well, and even our so-called kind of trifecta of captains, if you like it, I'm not been thrilled with. Like, you've got Son, Maddison and Romero. Romero hasn't been playing, of course, but Son of Maddison, I mean, it actually makes me cringe when Son goes off and he hands the captain armband to Maddison. I'm like, no. Like,
No, I don't think either of them have done enough this season to warrant.
Kulusevski, mate. It should be Kulusevski.
Yeah.
He's the only one that's... And he's, what, 24? So he's
is he?
25, yeah. So, but he's older. But again...
Well, the thing is, you could make him captain and he could do it for 10 years.
Yeah.
So Son's 32, going to be 30. He's already 32.
Oh, yeah. He's...
and then Maddison...
Yeah, he's 32. He's 33 in July.
I don't know. I'm finding it really difficult at the moment to find positives because there hasn't really been a lot. The only positives I can take from this season so far has been the growth of Archie Gray and Bergvall and the fact that Mikey Moore's managed to break through into the team. It's great to see young players coming through, but
playing them.
Everybody else in the squad, I think, without any exception, has plateaued. They have not improved. Some of them have regressed. Some have dropped off a cliff. And then there's the injuries as well. Do we need to... and you've seen the adverts on LinkedIn, right, for new medical staff.
Yeah.
Is there an issue with the way that we are treating the players from a training and a medical perspective?
Quite a funny story. Well, I was in Perth for Angie's first pre-season with us, and I put on Facebook a picture with I met Richarlison, a few other players. I can't remember exactly who we got to meet in the hotel lobby. We kind of did a bit of stalking, me and my mates. Perisic was one. So I posted it on Facebook, and it was quite a funny story. A girl I went to school with, primary school, she messaged me on Facebook, like I hadn't heard from her for years. And she's like, are you in Perth watching Tottenham? And I was like, yeah, I live in Melbourne now. She goes, my fiance, Jordan, is on the medical team. If you see him, it'd be really funny if you got a selfie. And I was like, yeah. That night after the game, we were out in the casino, and there he was with all of the medical crew. And the reason I knew it was the medical crew, because it was that same bloody bloke that's been there years. Blonde hair, glasses, bit of a kind of a lighter complexion to his skin, blondie, strawberry blonde hair.
I know the one you mean.
Yeah, I don't know what his name is, but he was there when I met like Harry Redknapp and Clive Allen. So we're going back.
Yeah, he's been there like 20 years or something.
Yeah. So pre-season in America, when I met, this was like when Bale was there, and we had Jermaine Genius was still playing. They put context around it. So there's clearly been this stagnant approach because he's been running it. Not saying he's a bad bloke or not good at his job, but clearly there's this same medical team have cycled and been managed by the same leadership. So is there a type of change? But yes, I have. My mate pointed out as well that the ads on LinkedIn, so there clearly is a change needed.
Yeah. Stuart Campbell is the guy who's the head of the physios. Here he is. Visiting lecturer. No, that's not him. He must be new then. Because they seem to have, every time they hire now, they only bring in baldies. He looks like Maresca. Like he's got the beard and everything. So
I'm just trying to see. Yeah, I can't.
Oh, he's been there 16 years.
Yeah, 16 years.
See, maybe he's got blonde. Maybe he's got blonde wig.
Yeah. So again, this is like live incoming from like mates. But it says Solanke never injured for Bournemouth and now injured 4 times in training at Spurs in 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing, is it? So we know that Ange has got a bit of a reputation for injuring players because of tough training, double sessions. This whole thing about players being in the red zone. I think maybe our medical team are colourblind.
Yeah.
Because it feels like that because we play players into the ground. Literally, it seems like because we've had to. We didn't have to, did we? Let's be honest. We've said there were players that could have played instead, and we didn't know whether or not they would be better or worse than the existing players that ended up playing. So I feel a bit like we talked about
Dorrington.
We talked about Dorrington. He could have played. You didn't want him to play, but he could have played and given someone else a break who might not have got injured.
Yeah.
Same with the Lancashire could have played.
Yeah.
Could have played some or all of a game to give Solanke more rest. There were lots of times when he could have made a conscious decision to rotate players, but he chose not to. It's not like we were winning games and that we didn't want to stop winning by weakening the team. The team was weak and not playing well, and I can't imagine swapping 3 players out to give with fresh legs who might want to make a name for themselves would have had an adverse effect on the team. But then I guess he gets paid to make the big decisions at the end of the day. So it's an armchair view, not a considered view of a UEFA qualified coach, mate.
But he said a few things lately, like it was, I think it was, I can't remember which game it was after, when he said, I hope I'm still here to reap the benefits of these young players. And then after the Arsenal game, he was very, very ruffled and abrupt to the reporter asking the questions on what does it mean as we go into the next game, how important. And then he just kind of mumbled a little bit and said, we just focus on the next game, and that's Everton, and that's an important game. And it was, I don't think the questions he was being asked were out of order.
No, but let's be honest, they are poking the bear a bit.
Yeah.
But equally, he is the grumpiest fucking bear on the planet at the moment. Like he gets offended or prickly about anything. He doesn't. He's just in a mood, and you can understand he's not going to be in a good mood. I understand that. I'm not in a fucking good mood. And if you shove the microphone under my nose after games, as we do, as you've heard, sometimes we've got harsh things to say about the team and the players and the coach. But if his job is to do those interviews, and he's smart enough to just deflect the stupid questions and just to focus on the things he wants to talk about. He's not dumb. He's done it. When he's in a good mood, he does it really well. Like, he just deals with all the shit, ignores the bits he doesn't want to talk about, and then talks about what he really wants to talk about. And then he makes the sound bites that way. But by just being a grumpy bastard every time he gets near a microphone, it just looks like he's out of his depth. When he isn't. Yeah. But he does give the impression that he's angry or upset or feels like he's under fire. And he is a bit under fire. He should be under fire because he's, at the moment, the buck really stops with him, doesn't it? And if he's not able to get a tune out of the players, and at the moment it looks that way, and they want to play for him still, you would think it still looks like it. Although I saw a post today saying he's lost some of the players. I'm like, well, is it the ones that aren't playing?
Yeah, well, this is exactly right, isn't it? And as to your point, if the results go the other way, opposite to what I think might happen, I hope it doesn't. If we do get 2 wins in the next couple of games, we'll cover the Leicester game on a future episode, but that is 30 points, and then all of a sudden you're pushing for the top half again. And then, like I said, then it looks very different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, our next, I'm just looking, because we've got Leicester at home, Brentford away, like you said, Villa, and then the Cup, and then, so our next 2 league games after Leicester are Brentford away and Man United at home. Well, we do play Ipswich in late February. We have relegation 6 point. Fun times.
Well, it's. I mean, we'll do another record this week coming, probably for the Europa League game. So we'll figure out we're going to do that. But prediction for the score?
I hate saying it because I just don't think it gets any better, but I can see us losing like 2-1 or something, or 1-0. I can see Calvert-Lewin finally scoring and then them shutting up shop. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope we come out and we play like we know we can, and we just had too much from them. We 3 or 4-1, but it's so hard predicting Spurs at the moment. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see a defeat, but I hope I'm wrong.
Okay, so I said I thought we'd win, didn't I? I think I'll talk myself out of it. No, 2-1 win.
Fingers
But
crossed.
I'm. Do you know what? I want us to put on a convincing display. I don't think a win's even good enough. I think if we can't show that we're better than Everton tomorrow, I mean, let's be honest, we're next to each other in the table. But what we need to show is that this is an artificial position for us in the table. That this isn't where we belong. We are subject of our circumstances with the amount of injuries that we've had. If we start to get players back, we need to show that it's not the fucking system. It's not the way we're playing. It's not the coaching. And it is just the injuries. And if all the players come back and we immediately start winning all our games, that's fine. And no one will, all the noise will go away very quickly.
Well,
if it doesn't,
it's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, but if it doesn't, then
yeah. And this is
where he has to stand up and be counted.
Well, this is where, come what may, in terms of what happens to the Everton, and maybe it will be taken out of all of our hands and the change way. But let's say we do lose the game, and then, like you said, we start to get players back, and we do win games, and we shoot up the table, and we put a run together. Then that's vindicated him, right? Because every time he's put on the spot, he says, "Tell me another Premier League club that's having to play an 18-year-old centre midfielder at centre back," right? And that's right, it's true, but it's only going to be vindicated if we get players back, and then actually goes and plays in midfield, and we start winning games, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think, as you said, that's it. I think it will tell us a lot. The problem with what you're saying is, whatever happens tomorrow, if we go and win 2 or 3 games, it may give him a stay of execution. But the problem will be, if he's still with us in February, it's too late to make a change and make change to the playing squad. So whoever comes in, if he does get the sack in February, for instance, is stuck with whatever players we've got at that point.
Well, and then that's where it probably becomes Ryan Mason again for the 18th time.
And the problem as well is that I think that we're almost. Do you think that they're reluctant to give him money because they're not sure whether they're going to keep him?
I thought that. I did think that could be a genuine concern, but then I look at it, as I've talked about a lot, it wasn't just Ange Postecoglou that came in when he came in as manager. A lot of other things changed as well, right? We had Scott I think is it Langer? Is that how you pronounce it?
Langer, yeah.
Yeah, we have Langer in there. So maybe there's a reluctance, but you have to ask yourself then, if there's a reluctance to give money, then that's a reluctance to give money to the whole regime, not just Ange Postecoglou. So then it brings me full circle to say, well, if they fire Ange, does Scott Munn lose his job? Does Langer lose his job? Do we bring back Paratici?
Was Postecoglou was already hired before Munn, or Munn?
I think Munn had a period.
Munn was on garden leave for ages, wasn't he?
Yeah. So I think it was always going to be that those two coming in, and then I can't remember when Langer came in.
It was at the beginning of last season or something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
long ago.
It looked on its face as to be, this is the regime, this is the change, right? And so if you're changing one change all, maybe just go do a lift from Brighton, because they need to get it right.
Clean sweep.
Yeah.
But yeah, as long as we can sweep Daniel Levy out with them.
Well, this is it. Like, maybe it does start at the top, right?
Maybe the problem is as well, right? Is that the valuation of your business surely is impacted by the performance on the pitch. Not as much as it maybe in the olden days, because as long as you get enough people turning up and filling stadiums, and you've got all your other external things going on outside of football, so like the boxing and the rugby and the American football and the music concerts and God knows what else we're hosting at the stadium, and the go-kart track and the abseiling and the walk and all that cobblers, then maybe it doesn't matter to them where we are in the league as long as we're in the Premier League. Premier League keeps us in the press, keeps us in the public eye, makes the value of the business good. But surely not being in Europe has an impact. And how many seasons can we afford to not be in Europe before it impacts the thing he cares about, which is the money?
Yeah. That's a fair point.
Because let's be honest, right? We've had seasons where he's not invested anything in the team at all, nothing, not even a net nothing, an actual nothing.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm feeling a bit philosophical tonight, I guess. I don't feel like I feel like we bought all the ingredients for a cake, but I'd be fucked if we found anyone who can bake it yet.
Yeah.
And we keep hiring people who keep turning out garbage. I don't know. But I think, does it start with the guy who hires the chefs? Does, doesn't it? Ultimately, surely at some point.
Well, it goes back to, for me, I listened to a podcast a long time ago when Pochettino was still in charge. And it was the Spurs Show podcast. His name's Richard Cracknell.
Yeah.
He's on
last week. That's the word on Spurs a lot.
Yeah. He's actually quite good. Like, he
lives in Lanzarote, I think.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, and anyway, his argument was, it doesn't matter who you've got in charge, and this was towards the end of Pochettino's tenure, or maybe it was once he'd gone. It was, if I'm a chef and I want to make chicken soup, if all I'm given is chicken shit to make chicken soup, the soup's going to be shit. I want some actual chickens to make chicken soup.
Yeah.
And you keep not giving me chickens to make chicken soup, so you're going to get shit.
Never a word been spoken about Tottenham, right, in the last 20 years.
Yeah. And this is it, right? This is
too many compromises. I would rather we signed half as many players, but we bought the actual players that were wanted, the first choices. I can't think of any player in recent times where I felt like if money was no object, I don't think we'd have bought any of the players we bought. I think we would have bought someone else if it was down to money. And I think it usually is down to money. I know we can afford the salaries if we really wanted to. Will we pay the salaries? And the answer is no. And will we pay the transfer fees? Also no. So we keep talking about 65 million like it's a lot of money in the transfer market, but that's a squad player for Man City.
Yeah,
65 million is a Man City squad player, and that's what we.
Or a Chelsea squad player. Yeah,
exactly. And Chelsea have been farming players like they're going out of fashion, right? So I just think modern football is we're getting left behind. I think we really struggled in the Premier League era to be competitive, and we spent money, but I think we've wasted a lot of it. We continue to buy players that aren't better than the best players we've got in the team already, but that's starting. Now that's a problem because the players that are in the team at the moment aren't very good to start with.
Yeah. No, 100%, mate. 100%. Well, let's hope.
That was a much longer chat than I was expecting it to be.
Long overdue, probably, and needed. Like, let's see what happens with Everton. As always, Tottenham could be playing bloody League Two, and I'd still say, as I always do every week, come on, you Spurs. You know, they mean an awful lot to me. So let's hope that the players realise that and we get the result against Everton. I'm not as confident as you are.
And I'm not that confident. Okay, thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And to close us out, as Glenn said, come on you Spurs. You can contact us on email at tottenhamhomeandaway@gmail.com or on Twitter X @TottenhamH&A.
Let me be the one that you